Pandemonium, cries, sirens. What started as a backstage argument ended in blood, betrayal, and an ambulance rushing. Camron went to the ER few hours ago, inside a dimly lit VIP corridor at a private industry event in Atlanta. Jim Jones became enraged, and Kay apparently attacked his lifelong friend, opponent, Camron, and witnesses claim the situation was worse than anyone expected. But the twist did not stop there. Chrissy Lampkin, Jim's lifelong fiancée, was suddenly hauled aside by police for questioning following security footage revealed something no one was prepared for. What was she doing seconds before the brawl broke out? Why was she observed talking to Camron alone earlier that evening? And is this the fallout from a secret that has been kept for years? We're delving deep into everything: the brawl, hospitalization, and interrogation using leaked tape, phony insider reactions, and a timeline that reveals how one night broke decades of allegiance. Grab your popcorn, because what comes next may just ruin all the Dipset heritage ever stood for. To truly appreciate the startling moment when Jim Jones vented his rage on Camron, you have to rewind years back to the golden days of Dipset, when these two, Camron and Jim Jones, were more than colleagues. They were brothers from Harlem streets to hip-hop royalty. They developed an empire. Their connection was electric, their loyalty impenetrable lore, so it appeared. But behind the scenes storm was. Let's break it down. Diplomats rose like fire through concrete in the early 2000s, unapologetic and dressed in pink fur and Harlem pride. Camron was the face of the vision, Jim the muscle and enforcer, the one who made sure everyone knew Dipset wasn't to be messed with. But as fame climbed, so did the ego's money. Dots started flowing in separate directions. Camron took more of the spotlight. Jim Jones, despite pushing hits We Fly High, was often perceived as playing second fiddle. And that's when the first crack began to emerge. Behind during the scenes, there were whispers that Jim felt unappreciated, and that Cam dismissed him. That the brotherhood was becoming business, and business was growing filthy. Fast forward to 2017. A public feud erupts. Jim goes live in a painful interview, crying on The Breakfast Club, talking about devotion and betrayal. Camron responds on Instagram Live.com, but cutting revealing texts, stories, and claimed Jim was never actually Dipset, merely surfing waves. Todd fans, where a Cam's Jim Harlem civil war has ended. But in 2021, a starting twist. A reunion sprinkled against the stage, lit up again by Jim Dwell's spooky zik. The fans went crazy. Old wound appeared to be fixed till now. Since yesterday night, that truce went up in flames, according to numerous things. Exploded behind the scenes at a secret industry party, according to phony insiders. The concert was designed to commemorate unity in New York hip-hop, but instead it became a war zone. Camron reportedly drew Jim away for a private conversation. Sources say he brought up unfinished business, including royalties and a betrayal that still ached. The Jim, which was already hot from drinks and tension, allegedly snapped. Chrissy Lampkin was seen entering the room shortly before the altercation, which raised eyebrows in security footage. Making rounds on social media shows Chrissy and Cam talking softly in the background. She leans forward, he nods, and she minutes later, Jim steps in and all hell breaks free. With punches, shouts, guards flooding in. And bloodied and plainly terrified, Chrissy was carried out on a stretcher as Jim was hauled out in cuffs and later freed. Police insiders allege that her communication with Camron minutes before the incident is crucial to the was she warning him? Was she setting him up, or was she trying to halt what she knew was coming? We do know Chrissy is refusing to speak to the press. Camron is hospitalized and stable but not talking. Jim Jones silent. Not even a tweet. Yet the streets are screaming. Dipset fanatics are tearing each other apart. Was Jim right? Finally, did Cam go too far? And what role did Chrissy play in this spiral? This wasn't just a fight. It was a legacy destroyed in public, and it's only going darker from here. The tension in the room was already high. Industry leaders whisper, bodyguards pace, and a vague buzz of things about to go awry hangs in. Yet no one expected this. Security camera footage, which has just leaked, shows Jim Jones rampaging down the corridor of the VIP suite with clenched fists, jaw gritted, and two of his entourage trailing behind. One of them tries to hold him back, but he brushes him off. Just seconds before, Chrissy had exited the same room, her face unreadable, her phone clenched so hard her knuckles had become white. Within Camron alone, waiting for some word. He'd wanted to talk with Jim one-on-one. Others feel Chrissy was the true purpose for the meeting, seeking to settle tensions. Chrissy had never really recovered. But something was odd. according to a phony source close to the venue staff that was heard crying in the restroom barely 10 minutes ago. Witnesses reported she kept screaming, "They're going to destroy each other and it'll be my fault." And then it occurred. Jim entered the room. What started as rising words soon, a loud crash, thought to be a champagne bottle thrown across the room, set off the commotion. Guards raced in, but they were too late. By the time they separated the two, Ken was on the ground, bleeding from his forehead. Jim, who was semi-conscious, was being held back by three guys. His shirt had shredded, and he was saying something no one expected to hear. "What you did," Cam told M. The room fell silent. And that's when the first important twist occurred. Burst across social media post from a private account swiftly deleted, but screenshotted by many, claiming that the battle wasn't only about old Dipset be seeking royalties, it was about Chrissy Cam toying with Chrissy behind Jim's. The entire neighborhood is aware that the brawl was personal. Fans couldn't believe it, and Reddit boards began sprouting up with perpetrator-typed screen-grainy copies of previous texts, side-by-side images of Chrissy and Cam attending the same events. Even one. A clip from a 2019 party shows Chrissy dancing quite close to someone wearing Cam's distinctive pink mink jacket. Jim had been quiet about their difficulties for years, but what if he knew all along? Another tweet emerged, this time from a Jim discovered texts between Chrissy and Cam, a certified insider account in the love and hip-hop circles. They attempted to kill it quietly months ago, but it didn't succeed. It wasn't just about treachery, it was about shame, was about being lied to by the only two people he ever trusted. And now Camron was in the hospital. Chrissy was being probed by police since a fresh rumor was making its rounds. The cops aren't merely probing a fight, they're probing an apparent setup. According to one anonymous report, Chrissy met with Cam an hour before the party. She knew Jim was coming, knew he was angry, and yet told Cam to meet her. Did she intend to set up a friendly reunion, or did she light the match? Police reportedly discovered Chrissy's phone on the spot, looking for any deleted texts, call records, or notes that could convey purpose. And that's where things become increasingly complicated, as a leaked screen demonstrated. Authenticated, but VIRAL apparently shows Chrissy emailing a buddy, "I'm done protecting him if he finds out what." Fans were in a frenzy about what happened in Miami, and whether or not Cam speculations began to spin. Some suspected Chrissy and Cam had restarted something that had begun earlier. She even met Jim. Others were sure it was a one-time error that grew into a secret flame. And a select few. Chrissy had been caught between two men for years, emotionally devastated and attempting to hold the full empire together, but in trying to save them both, T destroys all outside the hospital. Cam's close circle survived, tight-lipped, but one of his crew sent a cryptic message on Instagram saying he's awake, and when he talks, y'all ain't. Jim Jones went entirely quiet, with no posts, statements, or appearances. Chrissy was released from police custody just hours later. Obviously scared, lips shut, but her silence screaming louder than anything else in the middle of it all. A leaked voice note began circulating, supposedly from Jim Jones himself, and sent to a close friend. "I let too much slip, thinking we were mature, but when I saw him with her again, I saw red," as that voice note verifies. Jim knew Chrissy and Cam had a history and that the fight was more than simply violence. It was pain. Exploding in real time. But the most horrifying aspect is the audio note that concludes with this line. "Tell them I warned him, he came. I'd smash something if I got near her again." And he did, but what he might have broken was considerably bigger than Camron's face. Cameron's face may have broken the entire foundation of all he ever stood for, while a city hadn't even gathered its breath, while fans were still hooked to their phones. A second explosion occurred, this time without fists or blood, but with secrets. Dissecting every second of that viral hallway film showing Camron being brought out on a stretcher. A new article of evidence leaked online and turned the entire narrative on its head. An unknown person slipped a 4-minute voicemail recording supposedly between Chrissy Lampkin and her close friend. A conversation so raw and personal it made even the most hardened supporters pause. In the tape, Chrissy's voice shakes as she states, "I didn't intend for it to go this far. I just needed to know whether I still mattered to Cam, who was only supposed to listen, not record." But the damage had already been done. The suggestion is that Chrissy rekindled her relationship with Cam recently, not years ago, and it was not a mistake in the past. This was ongoing. And worse, many folks online began uploading screenshots of Chrissy and Cam reportedly staying at the same hotel in Miami just 3 weeks before the fight. Same background, same poolside chair, same date stamp. Just when fans thought the controversy couldn't get much worse, a bogus email from a hotel concierge went viral. They claimed they had to break up a violent argument between a woman named Chrissy and a man wearing a Dipset chain in a hotel suite. After 2 a.m., the fight in Atlanta sparked the internet to explode. Did Jim know what happened in Miami all along? Was this an ambush or a confession turned violent while Chrissy remained silent? Jim's mother wrote a no-removed story. Some women destroy more than hearts. They ruin bloodlines. Link the dots. It wasn't just shade. That was a war declaration from the family over at the hospital. Camron's silence just put more gasoline to the fire, as his cousin tweeted a blurry photo of Cam's arm in a cast. Captioned, "Y'all keep playing with devotion like it's disposable. He's going to talk soon. And when he does, legacy." And that's when the industry started reacting. Celebrities are SPNCS. Obese I Joe went live on Instagram with a strange take. "That's why I don't combine loyalty and lust. That Harlem love triangle always had snakes in it." Remy Ma tweeted some lines. "Should never be crossed for power, closure, or even love." Yet the wildest reaction came from Funkflex. He played a retro camera on track and stated this one hit differently, now knowing what he was talking about. He went on to say that Chrissy was always the variable, and Jim should not have let that go unchecked. The plot was rapidly moving from a random brawl to a Shakespearean betrayal. Stunning revelation. DNA questions emerged. Then came the twist that no one was ready for. A leaked rumor started circulating, first on underground hip-hop forums, then throughout TikTok. A lady claiming to be Camron's ex Cam posted a cryptic message hinting that Chrissy had once requested Cam for a paternity test for a child that was Chrissy and Jim have no known children, which has never been publicly acknowledged. However, the article suggested that a child may have existed that was never exposed to the public, and Cam felt he could bit the father. The message was deleted within minutes, but by then hundreds had already seen it. Now fans were questioning, was this fight about a hidden child? Is this why Jim snapped? He just found out Cam might be tied to Chrissy in ways deeper than betrayal. What was she hiding all these years? Camron eventually broke his silence on Instagram, posting a single hazy photo he on a hospital bed, his face injured but smirking. No title, just one phrase in his story. Timing for what fake text releases exacerbated the FLO debacle, just as it seemed like the flames couldn't grow higher. Screenshots of a bogus text conversation reportedly between Chrissy and Cam began circulating. Chrissy, "He knows I couldn't lie anymore, Cam. Then it's done. Let him come. I ain't hiding, Chrissy. I never why stop loving you, but I never wanted to hurt him." Whether true or fictitious, the screenshots added fuel to Theon already uncontrollable blaze. Dipset people were split. Some dubbed Chrissy a traitor, while others blamed Jim for never letting go of previous grudges. And a boisterous crowd sided for Cam, saying he was the true victim in a web of lies. The hashtags were relentless. Hashtag Chrissy exposed, hashtag Camron peaks, hashtag Dipset split, hash Jim Viscantha. Emotional. The weight of the drama was clear. It wasn't simply gossip, but legacy-shattering. Families were involved, reputations were toppling, and the public wasn't done watching. The question was no longer merely who betrayed whom. What secrets are still hidden because the story isn't ended? In fact, it's just getting started. On the streets of Harlem, we're no longer silent. The Dipset community, previously known for togetherness, devotion, and fraternity, had become the focus of 8 Twitter threads about digital war zones, TikTok theories, and YouTube breakdowns swamped the internet as fans, bloggers, and even celebrities raced to make sense of what had just happened between Jim Jones Cron and Chrissy Lampkin. The hashtags #WearyVeryWare, hashtag Chrissy setup, hash Jim Jones snaps, hash Camron hospitalized, hashtag Dipset done shows. K1 viral TikTok video showed a girl crying, eliciting explosive fan reactions. In her car, mascara ran as she screamed into the camera, "I grew up on Dipset, grew up believing in them, and now this Cam in the hospital." Chrissy caught lying Jim, flipping out, "This ain't no reality show, this is real life and it hurts." Another video merged it with a response, "I've been Chrissy was never good for Jim. She had Cam in her heart from the beginning. Just go back and re-watch their early love and hip-hop scenes. You'll witness it." Reddit lighted up with conspiracy breakdowns. One popular thread titled Jim KNW in 2015, "The signs were always there," received over 5,000 comments analyzing vintage interviews, music, lyrics, And behind there, remember Cam's interview where he said, "Some of you keep your enemies in the bedroom." He was talking about this. And YouTube creators produced hour-long breakdowns with names like Chrissy's secret timeline and how she played King's Camron speaks in code. Every bar warning us Jim Jones' loyalty or wrath, what truly broke Dipset. In just 24 hours, the fallout became one of the most watched pop scandals of the year. Industry replies no one is holding. Bic wasn't simply fans speaking up, industry veterans and celebrities couldn't stay silent. DJ Envy, on a leaked radio episode, stated, "Man, we always heard the whispers Chrissy was close to Cam back in the day. But to think it would come down to a battle the entire empire is exploding over an old flame." Joe Budden never want to hold back took to his show, "This is why you don't mix friendship, career, and romance, especially in hip-hop. Someone always ends up bleeding physically." Nicki Minaj unexpectedly tweeted a cryptic sentence, "The girl who lies." Fans were shocked. Was she referring about Chrissy? Just repeating something odd didn't matter. It merely fanned the flames. Cardi B reposted a meme showing a Dipset logo breaking into pieces with the caption, "Loyalty over everything until love gets involved." Even former Dipset affiliate Hellrail went live and said, "This is just about a war over respect. If that's gone, there's no more Dipset." Chrissy breaks her quiet with a lovely offer nearly 48 hours after saying nothing. No tweets, no tales, no statements, until she shared a single black and white photo on Instagram of a rose wilted, lying on the ground with no caption. Location, but the comments section incendiary. "You destroyed the heart of Harlem. Jim deserved better." To be honest, this isn't lyrical, it's tragic. She could have said something, but she didn't. Her silence was its own statement. Silence became the strongest voice in the scandal. And police involvement is still a sight in Atlanta. The police department issued a cryptic press release, admitting an altercation happened between two public figures. According to data, one party was sent to the hospital. The inquiry is ongoing, and additional individuals may be insiders, said that Chrissy was called in for a second round of questioning, questioned not as a suspect, but to explain chronology. And then came the disclosure of a photo of what appeared to be police. The case papers described Chrissy as a material witness to an intensified personal assault using emotional provocation. The word emotional provocation sent the internet whirling again. Did Chrissy know what she was doing? Did she bait? They into that room? Is that what the cops claim? She instigated it. The theories continued mounting, as did thine. The midst of all this drama, Dipset's official account went black. There were no posts, no responses, and Camron's manager tweeted a piece titled, "There is no Dipset without there is no trust without honesty." And right now, everything is gone, with Cam still in rehab and Jim utterly off. The Grid fans were left wondering, is this the end? Was this one act of violence and betrayal the demise of one of hip-hop's most iconic crews? And if so, who actually drew the trigger, as fists may have flown in that hallway? But the true harm was done long before that punch was ever thrown. Just as everyone thought the tension had reached its peak, the ultimate twist dropped and it wasn't disclosed through blogs or fan threads. Camron S.'s team broadcast raw audio directly from his hospital bed on a rainy night in Atlanta. The letter on his official fan app was raw, scratchy, and passionate. But most significantly, it broke every assumption. His voice, still weak but calm, started like this: "I'm not going to stay quiet no longer." He tried to bury him with falsehoods. "Yet I'm still here, and I'm going to say it once," followed by quiet and the words that Chrissy didn't simply break allegiance. She cracked the internet in part. That one sentence ignited digital wildfire. Calm continued to explain that hinted Chrissy had rejoined discreetly last year, believing they had unfinished business that turned into a misunderstanding. That should never have happened. He didn't specify dates or places, but he made one thing very clear. Jim didn't find out through rumors. He found out because I said. Wait, what? Cam revealed that he was the one who confessed to Jim Jones. Not Chrissy, nor an anonymous source. Since Ash put it this way, he was my brother before the world knew our names. I owed him the truth, no matter how much it hurt, and now it all made sense. The wrath, the conflict, the punch that nearly lost Cam his life, and it wasn't fueled betrayal, was spurred by confession. But Cam wasn't done. He closed the message with one last ominous bombshell: "If they keep pressing, I'll release the footage. They know what I'm talking about." One word rewrote everything. Clip, of what moment, and whose they soon speculations emerged. Some claimed Cam had a covert camera from the hotel. Night in Miami showed Chrissy making commitments, she later contradicted. While some claimed it was a chat between Jim and Chrissy, one that would indicate Chrissy had manipulated both men for years, using their animosity as her. Some even speculated that the tape might include a third man, whom neither Jim nor Cam expected. In one popular post, a fan commented, "This ain't no love triangle anymore. This is a trap house soap opera we've just reached." But it wasn't just the fans. While the industry was holding its breath, rumors spread that a major streaming network had already reached insiders, reported that filmmakers were looking to buy exclusive rights to a Cam vs. Jim documentary. "We are looking for unreleased interviews, security videos, phone logs, and even Chrissy's exclusive." Chrissy remained mute while her team made a one-line statement to the Shade Room. Chrissy is focusing on her rehabilitation and has no more comment at this time. Fans weren't buying it. So what, being exposed isn't healing? It's hiding. She sparked the fire and now wants to cry smoke. Meanwhile, Jim Jones remained completely offline. No comment, no live response. His final post before the battle was a picture of Dipset original mixtape with the caption, "We started as brothers. Let's not die as enemies." Now, that post had more than 1.4 million comments, mostly imploring, "Please don't let Dipset end like this. Repair it, talk it out. Don't let her be the reason you fall apart. We need the truth before it's too